Hello and welcome to Firefly episode overview. Today's episode is The Train Job. Episode 2, air date September 20th, 2002. And here we go. The Train Job is the second episode of the Firefly TV series and is written and produced as a replacement for the original series pilot. It was Unification Day. 6 years have passed since the Universal Alliance declared victory over the Independents. On this day, Mal, Zoë, and Jayne find themselves in an Alliance-friendly bar, where a lout named Lund makes an offensive toast to the unification of the planets. When Mal refuses to raise his glass and Zoë eventually smacks Lund, a miniature reenactment of the war breaks out, with the three from Serenity assuming the roles of the outnumbered Independents. Fortunately, the fight is brought to an end when Wash arrives with Serenity and threatens to fire upon Lund and the offended Alliance sympathizers. The fact that Serenity has no weapons escapes their notice. Back on Serenity, in the infirmary, River wakes up screaming after having a very disturbing nightmare about her time in the academy, and she jumps off the infirmary table, immediately going into hysterics. Simon quickly goes to her and tries his best to comfort his terribly frightened sister. Once River is calmed down, Simon gently asks if she was dreaming, and if it is so, were any about the academy. River divulges nothing about her nightmares, saying it's not relevant. Simon passes the issue, saying that he needs to know everything River remembers about the academy in order to help her. River dismisses her brother's questions completely. She then starts to slowly walk around the infirmary and seems to finally acknowledge the fact that she isn't home anymore. River asks Simon, confused, "This isn't home?" Simon sadly answers her question, saying that they can't go home because if they do, she will be sent back to the academy. River is saddened by this news but quickly accepts it. Then, to Simon's utter surprise, River correctly identifies Serenity just by looking around the infirmary. She says logically, "Mid-bulk transport, standard radon accelerator core, class code 03-K64, Firefly." Mal then comes in and quips, impressed by River's brilliant recall. "Well, ain't that something, I can't even remember all that." He then goes over to the sink and tends to his bruised and bloodied hand. Simon offers his help and asks how he got hurt. Mal quickly tells Simon that he's fine and informs him about the bar fight. Simon worries about what type of attention the fight caused. However, Mal reassures the young doctor, saying no feds, just honest brawl between folk. Serenity takes off and heads for a Skyplex on a tip received at the bar. The Skyplex is run by a man named Adlai Nishka, a crime boss notorious for his cruelty. The crew needs work though, and so they risk taking a job from him. He sends them to Regina, in the Georgia system, where he wants them to rob a train of unspecified cargo. The train runs from Hancock to Paradiso. The plan is to have Mel and Zoë board the train and get into position in the luggage car. Serenity will hover above the train, lowering Jayne down with the equipment to secure the cargo. The three and their stolen goods will then be hauled back aboard the ship and make off with the rendezvous with Nishka's men. The plan goes south when Mal and Zoë find an entire squad of Alliance troops aboard the train with them. At first, this poses no problem, as the troops are only there to travel, not to guard the cargo. However, as the goods are being loaded into Serenity, one of the men stumbles upon them in mid-caper. Jayne makes off with the cargo, but Mal and Zoë are left behind. They arrive in Paradiso under the guises of Mr. and Mrs. Raymond, come to this world to find work. The sheriff finds some details of their story a bit suspicious and holds them while the theft of the cargo is investigated. There, Mal and Zoë find out what it is they've stolen, a shipment of Pescaline D, a medicine needed to treat the degenerative disease that afflicts the town. On a cruiser in deep space, an apparent unconcerned Alliance colonel receives a report from his ensign about the incident. He rejects Sheriff Bourne's request for assistance from the stationed Alliance marshals, saying that the marshals have better things to do than partake in local affairs on an impoverished border planet. Making use of her credibility as a companion, Inara takes her shuttle to Paradiso and gets Mal and Zoë out of the questioning, telling the sheriff that they belong to her as indentured servants. Her story passes scrutiny and the three of them return to the ship, having seen the conditions of the people of Paradiso live under. Mal decides to return the goods, knowing full well what Nishka will do when he finds out. They don't wait long to tell him Nishka's men have found Serenity tracking down the ship when the crew became late for the rendezvous. Mal explains his position to Nishka's towering Lieutenant Crow, offering to return the money paid in advance, but the men refuse the deal. Negotiations dissolve into outright combat, but Serenity's crew is able to overcome Nishka's men. The medicine is returned to Paradissio's local authorities, where Sheriff Bourne greatly appreciates Mal's change of heart. Back outside the ship, Mal attempts to reason with Crow, but the man continues to sprout threats of Nishka's revenge. Mal, at wit's end with Crow, kicks him into a nearby engine intake valve. Zoë grabs another henchman who nervously complies in an instant, and the surviving pair of Nishka's men are sent off with the money and the promise that Serenity's crew will do what they can to stay out of Nishka's business. Meanwhile, due to the failure of Federal Agent Dobson, blue-gloved agents of Blue Sun interview the Alliance Colonel and become personally involved in the search for River Tam. Hey, thank you for watching, and special thanks to the Firefly fandom page for all information you heard today. Have a great day. Bye-bye.